Section 7.9, Fractions and Variables, Part 2. Multiplication and division with variable terms is basically the same as before. We will start with looking at how to reduce fractions. Example, simplify 12x over 9x cubed. 12x over 9x cubed. The way that we've reduced fractions in the past is to factor the numerator and the denominator and cancel out common terms. For example, if we had the fraction 16/12ths, we would factor the numerator as 4 times 4, the denominator is 4 times 3, cancel the 4's, leaving us with a 4/3. We will do the same thing here. We're going to look for a common factor with the 12 and the 9, which happens to be 3. 12 is 3 times 4, and 9 is 3 times 3. And then we'll write out the x terms as a product. There's a single x on top, and then there are 3 x's multiplied together on bottom. Then we cancel out like terms. There's a 3 in common, and then there is a single x in common, leaving you with 4 over 3x squared. Example, simplify 6t squared over 18t to the 4th. Once again, we look for common factors in the coefficients. 6 goes into both. And then we write out the product of our t's, t times t on top, and then 4 of those t's on bottom. And we cancel things out. 6 in common, and 2 of the t's are in common. Notice that everything in the numerator has been canceled out. Students tend to make mistakes at this point by making the numerator completely disappear. Remember that there's still a 1 left in the numerator when everything is canceled out. The 1 left in the numerator is a lot like reducing the fraction 3/9. If you reduce the fraction 3/9, it becomes 1/3. It does not become 3. Example, simplify 6y cubed over 25 times 10 over 9y. Multiplication of fractions works exactly as before. First we need to multiply straight across, and then we reduce. (6y cubed times 10 is 60y cubed, and 25 times 9y is going to be 225y. And now we look for common factors in the numerator and the denominator. You should be able to recognize immediately that 5 goes into both the top and the bottom, and it also turns out that 3 goes into the top and the bottom, so we can factor out a 15. 60 is 15 times 4, and 225 is 15 times 15. Then we write out the y terms. There are 3 y's on top and 1 y on bottom. Cancel, and we're left with 4y squared over 15. Now again, if you know how to reduce before multiplying, that's okay. However, there is something to be gained in the experience of working with numbers that are slightly larger than usual. For example, 225. It's not a very large number, but it's large enough that if you don't have any experience, you may not recognize its factors right away. Example, simplify 7a cubed over 12 divided by 14 over 9a squared. How do you divide by a fraction? You multiply by the reciprocal. 7a cubed over 12 times 9a squared over 14. How do we multiply fractions? Straight across. 7a cubed times 9a squared is going to be 63a to the 5th. And 12 times 14 turns out to be 168. And now we look for common factors. 63 is 21 times 3, and 168 is 21 times 8. The a to the 5th we can just leave alone because there are no a's in the denominator to cancel out. 3a to the 5th over 8.